Hey guys, welcome to another guide. If you have been enjoying all the content I've been releasing, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and comment below what you think as well. So this is a little bit different. This is going to be like an overall guide on just how to win more games. So 5 tips and then a few sort of general ones in between as well. The first one, and the one that most people don't realize, is tip number 1: make lots of good food early and throughout the game as well. Even if you were just dropping it afterwards to replace it with better food, you need to make that food. Why is that? Well, the first thing is mastery HP bonus. So as you craft food, as you eat food, as you take damage, you actually gain a % HP increase. So if you press V in game and look at your mastery, on the health one, it will show you that crafting food is the best way to actually gain just a % HP increase that works on your base stats and your gear. So obviously the more food you craft throughout the game, the higher base percentage health you're going to have that scales with gear. So very, very good. The other thing is if you make good food early, like the orchids from ponds, etc., you will actually be able to win the earlier fights. So the sort of pre-level 9-10 fights where, you know, people haven't got their full build, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the main reason. And obviously, you know, food is good. If you pop food before you eat, you can have a passive health regen that will, you know, hopefully win trades for you. To capitalize on this, I would learn basic recipes like the HP pots, the cold ramen, purified water, hot honey, etc., just to make your life that little bit easier in those early game trades.
A survivor has been eliminated. Someone?
The next tip I want to talk about is your mini-bat, vision, wards, consoles, and using your tab key. Obviously, in games like this, vision is key. In basically any PvP game, vision is a big deal. So vision allows you to make better decisions on fights and, you know, where you want to be, where you want to kill. So try to always hit the console before you explore the zone if it's on your way, obviously. If you use tab just before you engage on a fight, you can actually check your opponent's gear. Basically, anyone you've seen will appear on your tab menu along with the gear at the point you've seen them. It will obviously not give you, you know, updates to their gear if they're not in your vision. So just bear that in mind. But it just allows you to check, you know, did this person finish their build super early? Did they you know, get a few kills, etc. You can really judge when to take fights. With the ward situation as well, obviously ambushes win fights. How many times you walked into a bush and just been caught by someone that stood there, that's managed to get their full rotation of skills off before you've even seen them. So carry wards, place them in bushes, never face check. Bush dodging can also mess up an enemy's auto attack as well. So if you do end up fighting around the bush, make sure you dip in and out of that, or if your enemy's doing it, put a ward down. It just allows your auto attacks to follow through without any sort of danger. Also, if you're facing a character that has like invisibility, using the telephoto wards can be huge because they rely on their invisibility to run away, and if you deny that and just carry on chasing them, they don't know how to react, and it's an easy way to pick up kills.
Do you mind if I stay for a while?
Moving on to tip number 3, basically kill everything safely. So by everything I mean, you know, your bats, your chickens, your wolves, but do it safely. So it kind of leads on from my last tip. Make sure you're hitting that console. Make sure you got a good idea of what's around you before you start fighting. I've got no end of kills from just walking up to people that are half dead from wolves or bears, etc. And I'm sure you've been in that situation yourself as well. The reason you kill everything is killing animals gives weapon mastery, HP mastery, hunt mastery, defense mastery, basically absolutely everything that your character needs to, you know, crush, essentially. So killing those animals, a nice way to boost all your stats and make sure that you win those end game fights versus someone who might, you know, just be a little bit ahead of you in terms of gear. The mastery can more than make up for them. And also obviously animals, you know, like chickens drop meat, and that's a really good emergency food. It's not the greatest food, but it, you know, turns into burgers, which are really good early on. Turn them into fried chicken for that little bit of HP mastery boost, etc, etc. And then obviously they can drop advanced materials, you know, myth, blood pack, force cores, meteorite. And when Wiki does come around, if you have a high hunt mastery, you're gonna defeat her a lot easier than if you haven't touched or killed an animal throughout that entire game.
Even with both, there's no escape.
The next tip I want to kind of allude to, shall we say, is you should be upgrading your gear all throughout the game. Most people will finish their build and then just kind of roam aimlessly, maybe kill a few bears or dogs or, you know, whatever, hunt players, etc, etc. But once they're full build, they're like, okay, this is me, you know, I'm done now. Which is not the case. What you should do is have a second build plan for late game. So things like, you know, mithril shields for tanky characters, the emerald accessory, you know, things like that will boost your character to the next level. The most obvious one is I see people running around in commander's armor when all you need is a meteorite to basically double its stats, and people just don't hunt that out. And this is why some people late game just destroy you. There's no upgrade, essentially. So once you finish your build, now is the time to start looking for those rare materials, you know, the meteorite, the myth, the blood pack, the force cores, and then know what to do with them. The easiest way to do it is to set up a build plan just for late game materials like you would with your original build. Or what you can do is open the catalog in game. I believe the default key is B, and then you can target that specific item. So if, for example, you know, a bit of myth drops and you can't remember, open the catalog, go to the shield or the helmet, and then upgrade those gears as well. Always check bodies for upgrades. People get too used to just looking for that little yellow triangle to tell them if it's pick shit up. You know, just learn what your character needs and what's good for it, and then try to build towards that always. Next thing, check those supply drops. As you've seen earlier in this clip, I managed to pick up an auto arms, which is a really, really nice upgrade to have for a you know, for a character that uses auto attacks. Last sort of tip I want to talk about is efficient use of time. Now, some people will kind of stand around doing nothing, or, you know, checking the same area 5 or 6 times for basic supplies. You should really skip items if you can get them later and if they're in the same build path. So it's kind of good to learn, you know, the basics of where items can spawn, and also have a look on that opening map roughly where, you know, enemies are starting, where they're likely to go. This isn't exact science, but it's something you can kind of pick up through game sense, knowing that, oh, nobody started dock, so maybe I don't need my scrap metal immediately, I can pick it up a bit later. Obviously it depends on your item that you focus on building. You should always try to finish your weapon, always try to grab the bits that, you know, your weapon relies on. But other stuff that you can leave to a bit later, instead of wandering around the same zone for 5 minutes, move on, get some upgrades, and then go back to a different zone that sort of has those materials that you need. Killing animals early, generally a complete waste of time unless you've got a skill that can, do that very quickly. Like Hanwoo's Q, for example, kills animals very, very quickly if you need leather. But other than that, don't kill them. If you don't need leather, don't bother killing them early. It just takes far too long. Wait till you've got your weapon, then, look at killing them, essentially. Killing players early, again, this is one of those things like, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? It depends. 9 times out of 10, I would say do not chase a player early. So there's no point trading blows level 1, 2, and 3 unless you can guarantee the kill for whatever reason, but then you need to learn your character and the matchup, etc. But generally, ignore players, complete your builds, and then go back and kill them. All you end up doing most of the time is running around. Neither of you complete your builds. Neither of you get the items you need. And you generally just end up losing all your food and water supplies. I would say just avoid killing players early unless you know for sure what you're doing and why you're doing it. You should always try and craft while you loot. So in this game, if I open up a loot container, a barrel, a dumpster, etc., I can actually craft at the same time while doing that. So basically, as you click the thing, wait till the menu pops up, and then craft. So hit your tilde key or click on the item, whichever you prefer doing. Just means that you can actually manage your inventory while you're crafting, and it's a really effective use of time and a good thing to get used to doing. Also, food and drink don't interrupt anything. So if you need to craft something, but you're like, hey, I need to, eat some food in case I die while I'm crafting this, then you can actually pop the food while crafting. Same goes for teleporting, anything basically. So always have your food and drink on like hotkeys 1 to 4, and just, as you loot, as you craft, if you need to, eat food and recover your HP, do it while you're doing something else, essentially. And last little thing of efficient use of time and inventory space is learn when you need branches, rocks, and leather to complete items. There is nothing worse than, inventory juggling at when you've got like 8 items and then there's 2 you need, and then you have to drop some, craft some, pick them up, or worst case scenario, you have to drop all your food and drink items, just to take extra slots of items, so that can be taken up by, I needed leather to craft the jacket, the sidearm, etc. So just learn when you need them. And again, there's no point picking up a branch early, taking up an inventory slot when you don't actually need branches till zone 5. So just sort of double check when you need those items, and follow that to the T. Learn when the branch and rock spawn as well, because that can be just a massive help of where you're going to learn those build paths. So I hope those tips have helped a little bit, just to kind of pick you up from those top 50%, top 40%, top 30% finishes, and try to secure, a first place or a second, because most of the time when people consistently finish in those top brackets, it's because they do something that we spoke about on this video. So they chase kills early, they kill animals early for no reason, they're obsessed with collecting every single item in the zone, and just slowing down their overall build time, etc., not making their food throughout, and not upgrading their build throughout the mid game. So yeah, I really hope that these tips help. If they have, please let me know in the comments, or if you've got any tips yourself, let me know as well, because it'd be good to kind of collect all the knowledge that everybody has and just generally make everyone a little bit better at this game. So once again, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna leave you with some Lennox gameplay just to close this video out. If you have enjoyed, please subscribe, let me know in the comments, etc, etc. I am releasing guides fairly regularly on this channel as well as streaming, so if you'd like to see some of that, tune in, subscribe, and I'll let you know when I go live. Other than that, see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
I'll take my chances.
Okay, let's go. No use in running. Living must live.
A new area has been restricted. D.
I'll take my chances.
Should you focus on me? Keep moving.
The survivor has been eliminated.
This
Survivor has been eliminated.